Hello, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to Connie Crit Milan Fashion Week. Jaega is here. We're just gonna wait a few minutes for people to join. Hi, Jaega.
Hi.
There
How are you?
Yeah,
How's everyone?
good.
Hi, Patrick.
Hello. Hi, how are you doing?
Fine, thank you.
Good, you're looking lovely. The pink is beautiful on you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I usually wear really bright colors when I'm online because with my skin tone, you will get washed out. It sometimes looks like I'm not there. So I'm like, yes,
this is a great color, and your lipstick matches. You know, you're totally coordinated. Always. Your blush, everything, even a touch on your eyes.
Looking good.
Are you involved in fashion?
I'm sorry.
Are you involved in fashion?
Yes, I'm an illustrator. So I'm a fashion illustrator, and so I guess I do live and breathe and look at fashion all day.
My mother, God rest her soul, used to say I had a disease. It was called total coordination.
You know, the funny things I realized I like monochromatic looks. Yes, I'm not big on mixing colors, but I will go overboard on one color.
Yeah, but that's a beautiful color. Beautiful pink. Yeah.
But I find a lot of women are kind of straying away from the pink now. I
love pink.
Why.
Yeah, I think the Valentino pink kind of saturated us.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Trying to get away from black, but it's very hard.
It's very hard.
Especially black.
It's so easy. And if you go to trade fairs, because you're working 2 years ahead, you know, what do you wear? You wear black.
That makes sense. And it doesn't go out of fashion. I do like the mix with the gold right now. Yes.
True. Okay, so we're gonna wait a little bit for more people to show up.
All right.
While we wait, I thought that Jaega, it would be really nice for you to introduce yourself, what you do, how you got where you got, and how do you find working in the industry? So if you can do a little introduction for us.
Okay, so just really quick introduction. Obviously, my name's Jaega. People always ask me why Jaega. It's just a really it's a nickname that started out from my middle name. So Jaega is actually my real name. It's just the way people are able to pronounce my middle name, and it stuck. I've been working in illustration for about, I think officially for about 8 to 9 years. Wow. Yes, exactly. So I am self-taught. So it's not like I went to school for art or illustration, which I wish I would have done because I did consider it. But then I thought, yes, marketing would be the best thing. And so that's why I have a degree in. But I've always worked in, fashion circles and things like that. I started illustrating really seriously, I think it was about 2014, 2015. And it was very organic. And I've always done fine art. I used to be an oil painter. I always say I used to be an oil painter because I always took classes and things like that. And I did a few exhibits back home in Nigeria because I'm British Nigerian as well. But then just discovering that you love fashion and you love art, and the two of them, it's an actual job. I think people who grew up in the UK, if you were born in the UK and grew up in the UK, for me being Nigerian, having grown up in Lagos, it's not always very obvious that you have that fashion background and you can work in fashion illustration. It's really not a job. It's just becoming a job. In Nigeria and West Africa, where we know the fashion industry is growing, it's becoming a lot more. People are realizing how much of I think an important aspect of the ecosystem is, and it's a contribution to the creative economy. So for me, that's why I started. When I did get into the industry and I started to get a few jobs, I've been really lucky. That's the truth. I've worked with amazing brands in the Middle East, here in the UK. I've had some really, really great opportunities. And I think the first time I really saw my work like blown up, it was the Dubai Mall, and it was large, like a whole wall. Wow. When you have those kind of experiences, especially when you don't have, necessarily an agent, because I was always very freelance. So I just think the UK has really been kind to me in terms of the way you are able to grow your client base if you just put your foot on the ground and you're willing to meet people and kind of network. So when I just realized that, look, I don't think anybody who's on the African continent knows how you can actually grow yourself in this industry, but there's so many people who love fashion. There's a lot of illustrators who are in Africa just wanting to learn, and they don't necessarily have access to the classes that we have. People don't realize how big a deal internet just internet connections could be.
Absolutely.
So for me, Fashion Illustrated Africa, and that's why I'm so thankful for Instagram and stuff like that, because it's an easy way for them to just kind of check out where they are without getting on a plane, and you know, the world just kind of opens up. And so setting up Fashion Illustration Africa, I think, was validating what they were doing as relevant and important. And the fact that it is growing, it will become more important. The funny thing is, African fashion designers are not big on illustration. I think it's something that they try to bypass. So they don't really see it as something they have to pay for, or something that they like, how important is this? Why is this useful? So I think our appreciation of art on this side is part of what has kept illustration going, even through the photography years, and look like, oh my goodness, illustration is over. But there's a real appreciation for the way the art is created. And that's not the case in Africa. So Fashion Illustration Africa is a platform I created. We're on Instagram, if you'd like to follow, at Fashion Illustration Africa. And it's basically just introducing people to the fact that, look, it is a career. And even if it's not a career, you want to be hobbyist, it's something that you should take pride in. And so that's what I'm doing now, is just basically trying to say, look, I could, you know, make a career out of it, then anybody can. Yeah, so that's me in a nutshell.
Amazing. I wanted to ask you a quick question. Do you think your marketing background came in handy as a freelance illustrator? Because I know that's something that we all struggle with, is that we need to be our own PR, marketing, artists, everything, website, everything. No products,
you know
no services.
When I think about it, I think maybe in knowing how to, because I think a lot of artists don't know maybe how to do a cold email in a way that's still respectful or professional, or makes the person want to respond to you and not think it's spammy. So maybe in that sense, yes, just your writing skills might be a big part of it. People don't realize how often most of the jobs are not going to fall in your lap. You have to, you know, reach out to people and ask for things. But I would say that I've not done nearly as well. I think I'm really poor at marketing myself, and I'm really happy that you said that, because I remember the first time I actually wrote down, you know, at the airport, you know, when they have all these landing cards and then you write down artist. It was very liberating. So, yes, I am an artist. But I think that, yeah, it did come into play when I realized very quickly, look, I need a website. I was willing to pay for that. I need this, I need that. Sometimes if you're just coming from another background, or indeed you are like the classic, gone through, you know, proper education as an artist, you're thinking so much about the work. You're not thinking about how are people looking at this work and how can I make this work relevant so people want to pay me to do the work. So yeah, I think it did have a role to play, but I think a big part of it is just, you know, just time and chance and just taking those opportunities. So
really going out there and seeking work.
Yeah, I think so. When I mean going out there, I really do mean emails.
Email, the land of the web, worldwide web.
The land of email. And I think not so much now. I would say 6 years ago, Instagram was a gold mine, because people were manning their own Instagram. There was no social media manager who's a big fence between you and the person you need to be speaking to. So you could be talking to Rihanna. Honestly, I mean, Hayden Williams, a few illustrators who have had those sort of one-on-ones with Naomi Campbell or somebody else, and they just loved their work, and next thing you know, they had a big project coming up. So I think if you did miss that window, it's a bit tougher now. If you're on Instagram, you're most likely talking to someone who's just for social media, and they're not involved in the whole strategy of whatever the company you're pitching to is. So I think in that sense, yeah, there might be a bit, it's harder now, I think. But Instagram was a real blessing to me as well, because then you didn't have to go through the whole, email can be very, it can just feel like a big fence. But when it's like Instagram, you can see scene, you can see whether or not they're online. There's so many things that give you just a little bit of, you know, a nudge of encouragement. So yeah, I would say now you'd have to be a little bit more creative, and really just be ahead of the pack, which is a whole nother conversation. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, be ahead of the pack. It's hard, it's very difficult. And I think that's why we wanted to carry on with the Crit, is to kind of create that dialogue where we can come and share. And because as creatives, I feel like we all go through similar things in terms of, if this is our job, you know, line between your work, your personal creativity, and to make money, you know, changes the drawing itself. I think the creative process.
It does.
For example, now that I'm filming myself drawing, I draw differently than, like, I worry more than I should. I feel when I'm not filming myself drawing, then I can just be like,
freer. Yeah.
So those are interesting things. Yeah. But then when you get paid for reels, you're like, I need to record everything.
True.
So it's quite interesting.
I think that I struggled with that as well, that whole feeling that you need to record your process, when sometimes it's just intuitive and you don't know when the next drawing will be good or will be bad. Yeah. So I think that pressure is an added unnecessary pressure that I don't enjoy at all.
Yeah, same. Yeah. Well, anyway, so we're so happy you're here and share your feedback.
Thank you.
We will be.
I thought the shows were good though. I was looking at, I mean, the particular designers that you did pick were really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We will be talking about Prada and Bally in this conversation. So I'm going to share my screen. And we've asked people to post on Fida, hashtag Fida Connie's Crit. And we are first going to start with Prada. So I know there's only a few of you, but I thought, Julia, you're here. I love. Please tell us about your process.
So for this one, I just felt that the whole collection, because it was just block colors and shapes, so I just wanted to focus on the abstract, I guess, block geometric shapes of the show and the color. So this one I did with gouache on paper, and then just tweaked a few little things in Procreate.
It's lovely, really lovely.
Thank you.
I love the block shape that walking. I like this like cut into.
Yeah, and it looks like she's moving too. You know, there's energy there. And that combination of that pink bag with that color was just superb. And you've got it.
Yeah, I love that too.
Oh.
That's what caught my eye as well. And I think I really love the mix. So you just starting with really tactile paper, gouache, and just that can be a very intuitive way to draw. And then I think it just doesn't restrict you as much. Maybe that's just my experience. And then being able to add things digitally, I think it makes you a bit more adventurous, because then if it's paper, you don't want to ruin it. But if it's digital, you know, you can go back and fix it. So I think it's the best of both worlds. So it's really beautiful.
Thank you.
Love it. I think you have a few more, Julia. So we'll go through yours.
Yeah, that's the Bally one.
Ah, yeah.
Lovely.
So again, that was, I just felt the furs stood out for me for the shows. So this one again was gouache on paper, and then just to get the texture of the fur, I just decided to use the soft pastels.
Is it oil pastels?
Soft pastels, so
soft pastels.
Powdered, not oil.
Nice.
Connie,
I love the angle, the angle that you drew her at. Beautiful.
And I was going to say, Connie's just moved into pastels now.
I did.
She has, actually.
Yeah.
And looking like she's been there for 5 years already. So well done, Connie. Amazing.
My best.
No, really, really good. Really, really good. And my eyes are just really drawn to the face. I just think, wow.
Beautiful.
I mean, it's obviously you didn't go in crazily with the details, but just where it needs to be. It's very expressive, and I really love it. So for me, that's my favorite part of it.
I feel like you don't need any details on the fit because it matches the style of the rest of the garment, so it's very complete.
Yeah.
How long did it take, Julia?
That one, I probably spent a few hours, like starting off from just doing quick sketches of the shows and working out, you know, which item I wanted to actually draw. But Yeah, probably a couple of hours just to do that and finish it.
Oh,
It's got a real spontaneity to it.
Yeah,
The
I
energy there,
I
which is
tried to
good.
keep that. Yeah.
And what I noticed about this one and the previous one is it has a combination of painting, printmaking, watercolor, and it's a real amalgamation of styles. And I don't, when I look at it, I don't think of other illustrators, because a big topic for me has been the copying or emulation of other artists, and I don't feel that. I feel it's fresh. I feel it's unique. And I think that's what's nice about it and it would attract the eyes of like Nick Knight for Show Studio and people like that, who are really like trying to grab illustrators who aren't like others. So I think, Julia, I've said, and I think your compositions have got better, especially on the first one. I think the Prada one, the composition's spot on, and I think you're slowly. I can see you grappling with it, which is good. So don't chicken out and feel that you need to do something nice. I think it's better that you do something a bit more avant-garde, a little bit, stick to your guns, and your audience will come. And I think that's the bit you have to tap into. And it has a real sort of fine art feel to it as well. So it's a real sort of hybrid of all of these, of where fashion illustrates. Because recently I received a message on Facebook. I don't read Facebook, but I checked a message, and it was a combination of a death threat and feedback. And basically, they were complaining that they didn't feel enough of the illustrators were beautiful enough on the Fida Instagram, and I laughed. And I've mentioned this before, how I'm trying to be alternative. And if you look at contemporary fashion illustration, it is a mix of many styles. So I feel that, Julia, you are where it's going and where it's happening, and what will make fashion illustration a little bit more different. So we have to keep being, it's courage. That's all it comes down. It's having the courage. And I know Connie's gone through this, Connie, with your pastel drawings.
I'm going through it now.
Yeah, is that courageous period of, and I think with Jaeger as well, you'll have that moment where you'll do commercial work, and then you'll go mental and have a breakdown, and your style will be ripped apart by you. And then you'll rebuild it, and I think that's the journey. And it takes 10 years of doing commercial work to then deconstruct yourself, and you kind of hit a wall of, I don't want to hear that feedback anymore. I don't want to hear this. And then you're going to kind of reboot yourself. You know, you're talking. I'm 25 years, so I've got a bit more on you, but and I think Connie, I don't know how many years Connie's not far behind me, but it's that sort of robustness of, like, you go through. Art directors make you change things, make things prettier. You know, I had work from the Body Shop where they were like, oh, can you just do this? This is too messy. And then you work become more beautiful, and it takes a bit of that energy out. So when I see work like this, it's refreshing. It may not be commercial in some respect, but Julia, you need to find your audience. And I think that's the objective of these crits, is to give a combination of courage, and good feedback. And it doesn't mean that this is the one style. You're just one vision, and we have lots of different styles. And that's why we have a blend of all of us here giving sort of feedback. And I guess for me, as a creative, I'd be like, where do I take this next? Could I screen print it? Could I do a lithograph? How do I make it more fine art, that it has more appeal for an audience that's really rich in finance, that they want this? And I think that's the bit, rather than just giclée prints and things like that, where do you take this work on to make it rich within the fine art world? And I think
it should be in an exhibition, you know.
I think we're there. I think you're there, Julia. So keep going. In a long way that I said that.
Yeah, thank you.
I think it's great. And I do think the industry is moving away from the perfect, pretty drawing. I think it's, for me, I find it's the trend at the moment not to be so pretty
Put
and
together.
perfect.
Yes.
It's be a bit more weird. Like even the models they cast these days is not perfect and glamorous anymore.
True.
Definitely. It's usually the model was you'd remember the model. It's so very, very unique in their looks and things like that. And I think, especially for artists who specialize in commercial work, it can be more difficult than you think, even in your own private space, to be looser. You just find yourself being very critical of every single thing. So just being able to express yourself through a drawing like that is something you should really fight tooth and nail not to lose.
Yeah.
Because there is that real possibility. Yeah.
I know. Thank you, Julia. Do you have one more? Are those two?
I did the Armani one too, but you're not
Oh,
covering
that's
that.
for the next one.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna look at some other. Patricia, did you do a Prada?
No, I didn't. No.
Ah, okay. So we'll look at Jennifer Rodriguez Prada. That's quite.
Jennifer should be here. She did message me. I'll try and mention her, but we can talk about it and she can listen back if you want to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you got any thoughts?
Well, I think the first thing that just hits me is how moody it is. And I love the fact that she was able to capture that, because the show itself actually has that sense, that same moodiness. Yeah.
It's like resting bitch face.
And I completely agree. And I think what I do like is how it's almost playful, the strokes, and she's not giving too much thought about where things are landing, but it just comes together really well. Yeah. I think basically the background is in my mind, I think I probably would have gone crazy trying to make sure everything was maybe a bit more filled out. But I love how pared down it is. It actually just makes you look more at the figure. And I'm enjoying looking at what she did with the textures on the skirt and the flowers. I'm not sure what the medium is, specifically if it's markers or if it's, because it looks like it was a bit wet to start off with. I could be wrong. But I really love how she focused in on the figure, and I just love the mood that it conveys. So I enjoyed looking at that, yeah.
I think the background with the amount of white space around the figure looks like she's strongly backlit and slightly celestial. It looks lovely. Yeah.
True.
I kind of want to see it in a darker background to capture more of the mood, like the moodiness of it. To emphasize that.
Yeah, there's a bit of a contrast between the figure and the background that it's in. Yeah.
I think it'll be more drama. What do you think?
The facial features.
I think drawing figures walking to the camera, the only problem is you're always comparing it to the photography that's on Vogue or something like that. And I feel like in the previous crits, we had a drawing by someone from the Erdem show, and it was really about the mood. And I think that's something that maybe needs to be caught. So if you look at different, like Richard Haynes, he really wants to capture the spontaneity and speed of the moment of that they're whizzing past, and he gets the silhouettes. And that was one of the things. I had a quote from Howard Tangy, which is being put in the book that I'm doing now. And he mentioned that when he was an illustrator drawing shows, it was really just about capturing the silhouette. And I think that, and then he said the mood, but the silhouette is paramount to the first part of the drawing from an illustrator, where a photographer is really looking at the details and scrutinizing sort of their own essence. But the illustrators, if you look at Joe Euler and you look at Kenneth Paul Block and Antonio Lopez, they really wanted to capture that drama. And I feel you know, when you think of the Prada show, there was a real drama, and like you said, the attitude, maybe the face has a bit of the attitude, but
Yeah.
I remember at college, you know, when you're thinking of artists like Basquiat and thinking, what was their feeling that they felt when they drew an image? And when you see a show, you need to transport all of that feeling through to your hand and draw that feeling. And I think that's what we should be as mark makers, as image makers, is really to get that across. And I feel that, you know, it's a nice one, but there'll be too many comparisons. For me, it's just, you're making the comparisons, and she did a great one before on another crit, which I loved, which has like a big foot and is much longer, and it feels like she's like a mouse looking up as the figure. And yeah, I don't know where it is, but she has like much more moodier stuff. And
I am like this. Very
yeah,
good.
see,
That was nice.
much more moody, much more expressive. She probably went a little, she went for it.
Yeah, I love this one.
Yeah, and I feel like I don't know, it could be you, like anything, you're too busy at the moment. I think that's the hard part of being an illustrator. If you're juggling 10 things, sometimes the illustration is just seen as the spare part or the extra part. And you have to remotivate yourself to do it as best as possible. So it isn't that it's bad. I just feel that the mood is lost in comparison to the past.
I agree. And I think another thing about, you know, capturing the moment is sometimes, especially when you're thinking of what you're going to post on Instagram, I think of some illustrators, I know I've done it in the past, and you have what you created in the moment is really spontaneous, but then you go back and finish it off when you post it. And then you've messed up the moment, and then you've sort of finessed it too much. So I think that's another thing, that confidence to be able to say, look, this is what I felt, this is how it looked, and I'm confident enough to put that out.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah,
'Cause
it's a
sometimes
good point.
we do get scared.
Overcook it.
Yes, exactly. This is Sarah Darby for Prada.
Sarah's in Australia, so she may be looking at this
So Julia's in Australia.
different time frame.
Where's Sarah Darby?
Is Sarah there? No.
Jennifer's just joined us.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
We beamed her in.
Yeah.
I love the collage. I think that's
Yeah, I do too. Yeah.
yeah. I just wish, I don't know. I wish the whole figure was there for me.
Yeah.
Drawn in this style of the legs. That quick.
She could have probably cut it off a little bit lower.
Yeah, maybe either that or draw the rest.
Add another piece of paper.
Yeah, because it's kind of guiding your eye up, and then you're like, where is it?
Yeah.
Gone. I do
A
like
headless chicken, a gorgeous headless chicken.
But I really, really love the lines that she used. I love how, you know, free they are. It's not too guided, but yeah, definitely.
And the contrast between the pristine collage cutouts and the freedom of the paint application is lovely.
Yeah, it's really good.
very nice.
And I think it depicts the show really well as well, because it gives a really good imitation.
It's true. It's true. It's good communication. Yeah.
Nice, Sarah.
I think Jennifer might be here. Is she here? Are you here, Jennifer?
Hello.
Oh, so many good ones.
Did we talk about yours already? We did. Do you have yours here, Jennifer? Oh, we did. We
I'm there.
No,
I am there. I saw it there. I'm sort of on the left. Yeah.
There we go.
Oh, we already talked about you.
Sorry.
Behind your back.
You explain your process on this one.
Yeah.
My process. Oh God. I suppose the only process I can really think about is that I try to work in a quite a sort of like to kind of deceive myself a bit with I made three drawings, 3 paintings for this series, So kind of work in a soft watercolory way. And then I worked on top with a coloured pencil and later sort of making things more defined. I suppose that's what I could say I did.
We were saying, Jennifer, that we actually went back and looked at your history of your past work.
Oh, yeah.
We felt like your previous ones were much moodier, and they had a much more moodier feel, and these feel much more clinical. And that they sort of lost the essence a little bit of the, like the last ones you really went for it, where here you've maybe edited quite a lot out and sort of made it more clinical.
Yeah. They kind of look a bit cold, right? Is that what you mean?
Yeah. So we felt like like the ones you did before were really dark and really gritty. Yeah, this one was amazing, and we really loved it.
I love this one.
It really encapsulates and all the people. And we were talking about time.
Yeah, it's lovely, isn't
That's
it?
stunning. That's stunning.
Lovely sense of space.
Yeah.
We cut Patrick off. What did he say?
No, I was just saying that these previous pieces like really have lots of layering, and you feel more to it.
Yeah,
brush marks as well.
This last one just feels like it's just, I don't know. And also the pose, you've got much more interesting poses, where this one felt like it wasn't as powerful as your other pieces.
I know what you mean. It's kind of you know, I was trying to find some more interesting imagery than just the catwalk, and I found with the blue one, which I don't know, I'm not sure what I think about it. They were these sort of figures in this very cold environment, and all the colours were kind of bluey greeny, and I quite liked it, but it was really pared back. And I think perhaps I find it easy when there's lots of colour and texture and print. It's more inspiring to draw.
I was just going to say, you have a natural affinity with mixing colours and creating space and doing quite pretty without it being sweet.
Sorry, I'll just turn off the sound for a second.
Yeah, I also, Jennifer, I like, there's something interesting about this. This is like a drawing for a sort of an historical artwork. But the only thing is that because I know you're doing your fashion design stuff as well, it feels overdrawn. So the way you've approached the bottom of the skirt or the dress, you've drawn that line really neatly, and you've overdrawn it, and it feels like static. Where when you draw your other ones and you have a lot more of a fragile eye, we think of someone like Tracy Emin, where you're much more fragile and loose, it gives us more sensibility. So I feel that when you overdraw or draw too hard, we're losing a bit of that, the essence of who you are. And that's me looking at it from a drawing point. You know, when you think about when you're drawing as a younger artist or as a younger image maker, you really want to define the lines, and you're scared to make things look messy, where as you become more courageous, you're kind of more wibbly and you're looser. So I felt that, I feel like it's a balance. You're having a balancing act at the moment. I feel like we love the last pieces, but you never know. As we know on Instagram, we were talking earlier, you know, what people like and what I like, I could be wrong. So I'm not the decision maker, you are. It's just, that's the point of the crit.
Yeah. I think you have some days though where you're feeling it and you're not feeling it. And that happens to me all the time when I'm not feeling it.
And definitely, I think with illustration, it has to be. There's some drawings just come together really seamlessly, and then some others are a labor of love. And I think going through that process does reveal a bit about yourself. So I love how she was saying, you know, like the colors that she knows, it brings up the natural illustrator in you. And then when you see other moods or other scenes, it's just like, how do I interpret this? And so, yeah, I guess you would see where you need to challenge yourself more and what your comfort zone might be.
Definitely. I'm gonna go down. Anybody else did Prada or Bally? Don't think we.
I think Tamio did. Did I see Tamio's work there? Yeah, she did. I thought she.
Oh, it's Bally here.
I thought I saw. Yeah, I thought I saw
nice.
quite a few Bally Bally from Tamio.
Yeah.
That's great.
And has she got more? I think you found.
She has, yeah. Well, I saw her posting quite a few.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah.
So this one we really liked.
Yeah, we like this one. It's very quick, captures the moment.
Absolutely, yeah. And that energy of turning around.
Yeah, not just
really clever.
Yeah.
Really clever. And I think the boots are really sensational.
Yeah, absolutely.
So great.
And really well drawn, you know, like the back view of those boots is really well done.
Very nice.
Impressive.
Yeah, I think with Tamio, as I've said to her many times, is she's now capturing an environment which she wasn't before. She would just draw the person. So now we feel there's a sense of space. She's adding more than one person, which is much better. So we're getting a sense of people, environment. And the nice thing now is she's dancing between the two, and they're kind of, you're getting these sort of attitudes of the boots. You can actually understand the woman wearing the boot. And that's quite important. Is who is the wearer, and the way she's got up the hands in the pocket.
Yeah.
It really sets that vibe. It's just
it's kind of cool, you know. It's a cool stance.
Yes, and I think she's nailed it.
Oh, really good. It's so right.
And so different from her earlier work. I think it's great.
Work in progress.
Hey.
Progress.
Yeah.
Same as us all. WIP.
Love it.
Maybe.
And how you got it really. Yeah.
Very nice.
Really good one. Really good one.
Oh, these are Prada as well for Sarah.
Okay.
Sarah, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that collage, do you think? Looks a bit like collage. She's saying anything.
Green. Let's see.
Looks a little bit like collage, doesn't it? The shirt and everything.
There's some more through there, is there?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just
the skirt.
No,
it's just a little smidge.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just the use of like
great legs.
light. Really well.
And the use of the one line on the right hand side is nice.
I personally like it a lot. I think it's very traditional, kind of fashion-y look. I feel like maybe I think this could have done with a bit more, maybe this could be my leaning, but I think it could have done with a bit more detail on the clothing or the, whether it's the knees or the eyes or a little bit more would have taken it just extra. My favorite is the one on the right, but the white shirt. Yeah, I think that's really beautifully done, but I feel like we could have a bit, maybe more texture or more something on it. It would have taken it a bit further. But I really like it. I think it's very traditional, the sweet spot of illustration.
I think it needs a background for me.
I was just going to ask you, did you think it needed a background? Yeah.
To create that drama and that.
I don't think Sarah is into doing backgrounds, really. I haven't seen that in her work.
Yeah.
I know Sarah's work, and this is liberating for me to see, because if you saw her previous work, I would call it quite twee and quite girly, and she gets lots of commissioned work, and she's very busy.
There she is, yeah.
But if you see her earlier stuff, like, it's very different, and she's now become,
is that her work?
She's become
But she does a variety of stuff. I mean, she does live events, and now she's doing drawings for sale, and I think she's she's in business. Yeah, I love that. I love that.
So I see what you mean.
Model. Yeah,
almost like what she does for business is a bit more commercial. What would appeal to? That makes it's amazing that now I see what you mean by being proud of her, that she could actually go a bit more you know, it's definitely looser. It's more expressive in terms of just letting the lines come out, because it doesn't look like she tried to create the lines. Wow. I'm surprised she can be on those two continuums.
Yeah, and the use of the impasto thick paint by contrast with the bride and bridegroom, you know, she's got many sides. Could be called schizophrenic, but we won't say that.
And it can also be that she just, you know, I'll paint you what you want.
Say that. She knows my bad sense of humor.
It's quite difficult having your Instagram have all these different, you know what I mean? I feel like Instagram makes you
see that one there is lovely too. The yellow with the see the background she put in behind the yellow cape piece looks very loose. And it was just back up there a little bit, I think.
Oh, wow.
Go back up.
I think I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah, I think it was one of two. I love this woman laughing. I think she's wonderful. That's very hard to do.
I think it's amazing. I think she's showing a lot of different sides of herself. So I think I understand what Connie is saying about Instagram kind of makes you want to pick a style. This is my style as an artist. And it's almost like you feel like you can't break out of that. You can't try something new. And I do understand, because everybody wants to, if people are scrolling through, you want them to know that's you immediately. And I think it's an important thing. But it just shows she's really, really varied. I don't think she's even really picked a style, if that makes sense. I don't know if there's one side of her that is like, this is my business, and then this is the other side that's my true expression.
And is the black and white the first one? Is that Sarah?
Yeah.
That's her as well.
Yeah, see, there is a distinctive signature, you know.
Yeah, I find it really difficult because I'm going through, I feel, a transition, because I look at my old stuff and I absolutely hate it.
Oh no, Connie.
No.
Connie.
Some people are looking at your old stuff and trying to figure out how you did it.
And we're spitting because it's so good.
So I'm going to show you what I'm doing. Oh, I didn't finish it, but this was I was working on it yesterday at work. And
Oh,
it demo,
yeah.
but then I didn't finish it, but I drew them in.
I love it. Like it's,
you can see my old drawing, and I
love the way you do that.
Yeah, I'm trying to cover it up at some point.
Even the not finishing is honestly, it just feels like a transition, and it's becoming, you know, like a secret.
Yeah,
it's true. Story. So your accidents are happy as well.
Yeah.
Not motivating, Connie.
These garments are being revealed.
But I think your style, I think when you're using, you know, pastels and your crayons and your charcoals and things like that, I really feel like it does bring out a real beauty in your work. At least for the ones that you've allowed us to see on Instagram now, it's definitely something you should pursue, because it's gorgeous.
How are you finding the oil pastels, Connie? How are you finding the oil pastels to use? Has it been a learning curve?
Hello?
Connie?
We can hear you.
Hello?
Just the sound went out real quick.
Oh, sorry. Okay. I was just wondering, because I know that you have started to use oil pastels over the past couple of months, and I was wondering how you find them, and have you found them challenging?
I feel liberated, because I'm such a perfectionist. Like,
I understand. Yeah,
but then I'm bored of it now, so I love it because I can be abstract, and I'm okay with it. Because before
I have to go to chalk pastels.
I need to do everything. But I think oil pastels force me to be abstract and to not care about being perfect.
Yeah.
And I go,
because even as a medium, they're fiddly to use to perfect, unless you're drawing on a really large scale, to really get those fine details in. Is true.
And I did acrylics for a while, but then I started to become wanting to be perfect with acrylics.
I think it's part of your nature. You will perfect oil pastels.
I want to master.
You probably will figure it out.
I can see it coming.
It's in me. I have to like go all the way until I kill it, and then I get bored, and then I have to get something else.
Walk up that hill.
I think just the challenge.
Look at the next hill.
The challenge that I'm taking out of this tonight is just really, even myself, like evaluating is how much I've transitioned into digital, and how
really,
yes, terribly so. and how I think it started, if I'm really, really honest, and I love all my digital artists, you know, God bless you. The thing is, I think when you're doing commercial work and you are moving client to client as a freelancer, you do realize that Control Z will save your life. So then you're thinking more about how can this be a controlled experiment than really just like the art form.
Loose,
So now I realize that when I do just, you know, do sketches at home or whatever that is, it's a lot more, I'm like, oh wow, I can do that. Or you're forgetting how it feels to use paper and pencil and stuff like that. And no matter what anybody says, I mean, Procreate is great. It doesn't really replace the real materials.
Yeah.
And Jaeger, sorry, I may have missed the link. What's your handle on Instagram, please?
Oh, it's YEGA. YEGA illustration. Yeah.
That's simple.
Yeah.
Well, with YEGA, hey, it's, you know, nobody else has it.
No, somebody took the YEGA. I was very, very annoyed.
Connie, can I ask a question about your technique?
My technique?
Yeah.
Because I feel like every time I try to learn a new media, I don't want to do it like other people. So I try not to look at other people's stuff who's ever doing oil pastels, and I try to figure out my own way. So you just have to play with the medium, I would say.
Yeah.
But I quite like, I'm always a draftsman at heart. So I always start with a line because I see in lines. So I always feel like the line has to be there for me, no matter how messy or how crazy it is. I just think it adds to it. And then I would add whatever else. So the line is always, a drawing is always the first starting point for me.
I see. Yeah, I love like all the fine lines beside the shoes and the legs with the oil pastel and things. I find like oil pastel really difficult to use.
Me too.
I draw everything in. But once I draw it, I go in with color pencil again.
Do you?
I do.
On top of oil pastel?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
interesting.
not wow. How do they work together? Do you feel like sometimes
like oil and water?
You know, when I was a kid, I used to do that. You know, you color with crayons and then you get one oil pastel, the black one, and they give you a paper clip and you scratch. I used to scratch drawings out.
Oh yeah.
When I was a kid. I mean, they used to give us that exercise when I was
the scrappito kind of thing, isn't it?
5-year-old. It just reminds me of that. So it's quite scratchy and it takes the oil off and it's more of a fine line.
I might be popping down to the art store this weekend then.
So what I mentioned to Connie earlier is
Give me
it'd be really great to do a scroll. Remember I said
yeah,
the whole lineup and really and sort of challenge us. I guess all of when you're going through the motions is to challenge yourself. And if you look at your reference piece with all the different figures, I really want to see the whole lineup in there.
Yeah.
And you know, I would, and also repeating yourself. One of the things I did when I did my masters is that you should try and draw the same thing 12 times.
Oh yeah.
And it's a horrible experience.
Discipline.
It gives you discipline.
Yeah.
That's exactly the word, discipline. And I feel that, you know, this is part one, then it's like, right, try and draw it again, and then draw it again.
Right.
And I feel that I'd love to see this, and I'd love to see it more refined, more finished, because the colors are great. The colors are very Connie. The mood's very you. And I think it's you know, you're onto something here. And I think the oil pastels are like you said, they're liberating for you. And just testing them on different papers. Like this looks like a sort of lining paper.
Oh, it's linen.
Yeah, right. Linen.
Yeah.
It has much more of a tooth to it.
Yeah,
So,
it's very great.
It really looked really nice. And when you saw the work, when we were looking at them big at London Fashion Week, they look really, they look fantastic. And I'd love to see big pieces with oil pastels.
I was just gonna say that.
It's on the horizon.
Because I've seen on Instagram when you're working just like on a large scale. I would love to see this on a large scale. Yeah.
I know. The challenge is just finding time. For my challenge right now is really finding the time, because I just been working my butt off.
And also try and keep that that approach, the same approach. So don't change your approach to drawing it bigger. I think do a bit of research about William de Kooning and Franz Klein, and they were saying that bring in your small approach to your large approach. So where you're drawing things quite small, move that approach across and don't change it. And so if you see as they got bigger and more, I guess more influential, they took more risks. And look at Paula Rego. Paula Rego is a masterclass.
How do you spell that, Paul?
Paula, Paula, Rego, Rego. And she.
Oh yeah.
She
wow.
Is the absolute master.
Wow. That's stunning.
Amazing.
Yeah, and she did a piece about women having abortions. She did pieces about the black swan. She is the female Lucian Freud apart from Jenny Savile. So she does pastels.
Ooh, so exciting. Yes.
Yeah, she's your person to look at.
Yeah.
Paula Rego.
Even like her work on like fabric is gorgeous.
Yeah, I'm really into this linen / oil pastel / color pencil. My only nervousness is like you were saying, how it reminds you of different artists. I'm really nervous about it looking like just birds.
No.
Okay.
No.
Because I'm like
not even a smidgen.
Okay, good. Because I know we're so different. I really admire the work.
She's using paint more now, and she's using the one-line approach with charcoal.
Okay, good.
I wouldn't even put them in the same category.
Okay, because I really like her work, and then maybe
I wouldn't.
I don't know.
I don't think anyone would have that comparison.
Okay, good. I hope she does.
I think another thing I really like about oil pastels or any sort of tactile material is it's almost like when we use just a regular pen to write a sentence. We all individually have that handwriting. It's really hard to copy unless you really want to copy.
Yeah.
And when you go over to digital, because everything is the same thing, it looks like especially when it comes to certain regions of the world, all their illustration looks the same.
Do you think
because it's
brushes
digital
are the same?
I think it's they're using the same brushes. It's very hard to stand out. But when you're using something like this, your natural art writing will come out. And it's just it completely will be you. Yeah. Really love that.
One last thing. I did a mono print.
Yay.
Nice.
Wow. Looks lovely. I love it.
So
those are my favorite boots from that collection, by the way.
Yeah, I love this. I love
they're
this.
great boots.
I'd
have to go.
How did you achieve that?
Boots.
You roll ink onto a plastic board, and then you put paper on top, and then you just draw with the pen. And then if you put your hand on it, any pressure, it makes an imprint. So
that's the beauty of art education.
That's something that would never just come to mind to do. I mean, the closest I ever got to that was when I was little. I had the coin, put the paper on top, and I'd scratch.
Frotaging. That's called frotaging. Is to do the rubbing.
Yeah.
Tracy Emmings was known for
she did one on having a miscarriage or something like that. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Lots of her work, but
good.
And monoprints are great.
Yeah, I might do some more actually.
Or glass, you go and ink, and they're really easy to do.
And would that monoprint be waterproof, Connie? If you were to work over it?
I'm not sure. I did pastel over it.
Okay.
And then I killed it. I killed it. Oh, I think I have it here.
Did you use woodblock inks, Connie?
No, I just
used acrylic.
Pastel, but then I don't like the blue.
Oh, that's lovely.
That came out really good.
Yeah, if it was like black, I think it would look better. But then it was just a sample.
I think it makes the figure pop though.
Yeah, you need the colors. It's good.
Yeah, it was fun.
I think experimentation is something that, you know, it can be easily lost, but I think that's what guides you to the next thing and the next thing that keeps you in love with illustration. If not, it just becomes so repetitive.
I think that's why I like teaching, because I get to do these kinds of things. Gives me opportunity. It's like art school.
Honestly.
Art school.
Did you do the monoprint on your short course?
I was teaching at LCF yesterday, and then Kate, who's my colleague, she does monoprint, so she was doing a demo, and she's like, try it. She's like, everybody do it. So yeah, it was quite fun.
Monoprints are great. They're fast, they're immediate, and you get a really good, interesting outcome.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to try monoprints using with like woodblock inks, and then test. You should try it out with putting oil with it, because you get lots of textures.
Yeah.
And you can also get a rag, so you can clean bits out.
Ah, really?
Yeah. There's lots of stuff you can do. So you can play with the drawing before you actually start.
Yeah.
Do like a rubbing rather than a. It's a great experimental place.
Yeah. Sounds so fun. So many things.
Yeah.
Wow.
Good.
Yeah.
Connie, excellent. I think we're done for this.
Yeah.
Half of the.
I hope we're all motivated.
I am.
I've got a sorry, my dog. I've got a Prada one that I tagged a bit later. I used the wrong hashtag.
Go on quick before we disappear.
Oh,
yes.
Sorry, is it only on for an hour?
We've got 1 hour now, and then we're going to do another hour. We're going to shut it to start a new group. But we can.
You want to come to the next one, and then we can do on the next one.
What we're going to do is just close down, so we can end the session and then send Zoom, and we'll restart, and then Jaeger can get on with her life.
Yeah, Jaeger, we should meet for coffee at some point. Have a chat.
Honestly, we should. I'll message you. But I mean, I think I gained more out of this than anything else. This is amazing. It's amazing what it does for your creative, just thinking about what you want to pursue next. So thank you. All the work was brilliant. There's so much talent out there.
Thanks for your time, Jaeger. Brilliant.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you, Jaeger. Bye.
See you
Bye, everyone.
Thanks.